A quick look at tonight's weather. Mostly dry, a bit shit in the south and a jizzing of rain for the Scottish Highlands. Otherwise, all right. Coming up later tonight on Radio 7, we uncover the secrets of pop icon Lady Gaga and check whether she's actually got a cock. But first of all, we join Lionel Thackery for the Donnie Cheese story.
Some names linger in the margins of music history, whispered in roadhouses, scribbled on the backs of bar napkins, faded but not forgotten. Donnie Cheese was one such name, a rockabilly singer with a sound that throbbed through the jukeboxes of post-war America, a man whose hips moved like prophecy and whose stomach often acted without warning. He rose to fame in the 1950s with a string of hits that captured the hunger, heartbreak, and high-fat content of Southern life. And yet, within a decade, he had all but vanished, slipping into obscurity, his voice drowned out by time, illness, and a regrettable rap collaboration. Tonight, we trace the life and legacy of a man born behind a petrol station and destined for almost glory. Through interviews, archival material, and newly discovered recordings, this is the story of Donnie Cheese. Donnie Ray Cheese was born on the 14th of March, 1943, in a disused petrol station just outside Lexington, Kentucky. The third son of Claude and Myrtle Cheese, sharecroppers turned amateur distillers, Donnie's birth certificate was handwritten in pencil on the back of a church flyer. He arrived into poverty, into dust, into gospel music humming through crackled transistor radios. But even as a boy, there was something magnetic about him. He sang in tongues before he could speak in sentences. By 6, he could imitate a train whistle so accurately that a neighbor once attempted to board him. Family accounts recall a child both wild and watchful, equal parts performer and problem.
Well, Donnie's sweet as pie, yes he is, he's sweet as pie, till he's eating pie. After that, well, you got about 5 minutes before he ruins the furniture with his ass. Lord of mercy.
In 1956, at just 13 years of age, Donnie was diagnosed with a particularly aggressive form of irritable bowel syndrome, a condition that would haunt him throughout his career and shape his performance style in unexpected ways.
Donnie Cheese was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome, IBS. In simple terms, the bowel miscommunicates with the nervous system, leading to unpredictable bouts of abdominal pain, bloating, diarrhea or constipation. For an entertainer like Donnie Cheese, the condition meant living in a permanent state of physiological Russian roulette, and he'd frequently shit himself.
In 1957, Donnie met Lauren Mae Tripp, a waitress at the Fill and Grill diner in Hazard County. She was 16, he was 14, though he told her otherwise. They married 6 months later.
Yeah, I met Donnie at the Fill and Grill. I was working a shift and he came in and ordered a stack of pancakes, steak, coffee, Coca-Cola, fries. Lord above, he darn near filled that table, that boy. I knew who he was straight away. I turned around to my manager, I said, "That there's Donnie Cheese." And he was like, "Who?" And I was like, "You know, Donnie Cheese." And they were like, "Who?" And I was like, "It's Donnie Cheese, the singer." Well, anyways, I brought the food out and he ate every last bit of it like a damn hog. And then I remember he stood up and ran to the restroom, and sweet baby Jesus, he absolutely ruined the restroom. But he was very apologetic about the whole situation, and that's when he asked me out. After I cleaned all his shit up out of the restroom, I said, yeah.
Donnie and Lauren settled into a small trailer near the Tennessee border, where Donnie continued to perform at local gatherings, mostly church barbecues and livestock auctions. But behind the scenes, he was working on something else. something raw. That same year, Donnie scraped together $12 and a tin of beans in exchange for studio time at Boone's Meats and Music, a hybrid butcher's shop and recording studio run by failed gospel singer Cletus Boone. There, under the hum of freezer units and the distant buzz of sausage casings being stuffed, Donnie recorded his first demo. It was a song of passion, of risk, of bodily failure. It was called Gamblin Blues.
In the dim-lit room, I took my seat, cards shuffled, heartbeats beat, a poker face, a hand to hold. In this game of chance, stories unfold. Oh, I gambled on a fart, but I lost. In my trousers, my fortune tossed. Thought I'd take the chance, call their bluff, but it was a shit, not just a guff.
Yeah, I remember recording my demo. Cletus said to me, he says, "Donnie, I don't know what you got, but you got it." I'd written a song, Gamblin Blues, and most folk think it was about playing roulette at a casino, but it was deeper than that. There's more to it, you know, like an onion. You start peeling away the layers, someone starts crying, you see there's more to it. And if you peeled away enough of that onion, you see it draws a beautiful, beautiful metaphor between gambling in a casino and my ass.
Cletus Boone later described the session as raw, pungent, and unforgettable. Though unsure about the lyrical content, Boone recognized something in Donnie. A hunger, a rasp, a willingness to tell the truth, even when it leaked out early. He pressed 50 copies of the single on shellac and sold them alongside beef jerky. Within weeks, Gamblin Blues had taken on a life of its own. A career and a new genre was about to be born.
I remember the mic smelled like pork fat. Cletus had just finished slicing something. Ham, maybe? I stood there in my only shirt, nervous as hell, my belly making more noise than the guitar. That line, the one about the fart, it weren't meant to be funny. It was confession, really. That moment of fear when your whole body turns on you in public. That's country, right there. When I heard it back, I wept. Then I shat myself, but that was unrelated.
By 1959, Gamblin Blues had taken on a strange and steady momentum. Though never charting, it became a fixture in southern juke joints, petrol station lobbies, and one highly experimental Baptist youth group. It was a song people didn't admit to loving, but played twice when no one was looking. And wherever it went, so too did Donnie. His live shows became the stuff of local legend. Women swooned, men fumed. Insect infestations doubled. It was not uncommon for Donnie to end a set shirtless, damp, and crouched behind a crate. A 1960 review in the Knoxville Whistler described his performance as part rock and roll, part digestive event. But there was something undeniable in his delivery, a voice as frayed and fried as the bacon he kept in his coat pocket, and lyrics that turned bodily failure into musical transcendence.
He emerged at a time when country music was clinging to its morality, and then along came Donnie, talking openly about buffet regrets and romantic fluid loss. He was brave, vulgar, wounded, an American Brel if Brel had chronic IBS and a fascination with Yorkshire puddings.
Donnie Cheese had become a name people whispered with equal parts awe and caution. That same year, Donnie embarked on a short and ill-conceived promotional tour of the United Kingdom, part of a cultural exchange scheme organized by the Kentucky State Chamber of Commerce and an experimental branch of Butlin Skegness. It was during this visit, somewhere off the A38 in Worcestershire, that he discovered something that would change his creative trajectory forever. In this archive interview recording, we can hear his fascination and inspiration from the trip.
I walked in and I seen the meat just laying there under them little lamps, glistening, beef, gammon, turkey. And I asked the man, I said, "What's this place?" He said, "It's a Toby Carvery, sir." Well, I ain't never been called sir before, not without an arrest following it. He says, "Regular large." I says to him, "Yeah, I'll take a large, please." And he grabs this huge plate, and he says, "2 Yorkshire puddings?" "Yes, please," I says. I ain't never tasted no Yorkshire pudding before, but they looked interesting. Then he asked me what meats I'd like. So I says, "You know what, give me one of everything." And sure enough, he starts harving, and before I know it, I've got some beef, some gammon, a bit of turkey on this plate, resting beside these 2 huge Yorkshire pudding things. Then you go along and you got a selection of vegetables and roast potatoes. I was in heaven, yes I was. And then I seen the gravy. Oh boy, was I in for a treat. It was brown, thick, like music you can pour. I knew right then this was something holy, and fuck me, I was not disappointed.
Upon returning to the United States in early 1960, he wrote what many consider his first true masterpiece, Toby Carvery. A mournful waltz in D minor, the song recounts a fictional love triangle between Donnie, a waitress, and an unlimited beef joint. Its chorus, equal parts longing and indigestion, became a staple of Southern jukeboxes. The song marked a creative turning point. Donnie was no longer singing about bodily risk. He was singing about emotional hunger, the grief of a man who knows he shouldn't go back for thirds, but does anyway.
Oh, Toby Carvery, an American's delight, where every dish is seasoned with British love and might, with roasties crispy and veggies green. My heart begins to soar.
It's easy to laugh at Toby Carvery, but the structure is extraordinary. It's a minor key fugue of meat and mourning. Think Mahler, but covered in oxo.
Critics remained divided. Country Digest declared it's not music, it's a menu. But fans responded. And soon Toby Carvery was joined by other singles. Donnie was no longer a curiosity. He was a movement. By the early 1970s, Donnie Cheese was an artist in flux. His early fame had faded. His live shows were increasingly erratic. And with his stomach condition worsening, some performances were cancelled simply due to the proximity of the lavatory to the stage. Yet artistically, he remained restless, defiant, dangerous. In 1972, Donnie released the now notorious single No Homo, a confrontational, genre-defying track in which he questioned what it meant to be a man in a world full of posturing, prejudice, and denim.
It's only gay if you fall in love. That's the rule we swear, hand to the man above.
They didn't get it. Folks thought it was a homophobic thing. But I was saying, so what if I wore another man's trousers and let him feed me pudding? That don't make me gay. That just makes me adventurous. Hell no, I ain't homophobic, but I ain't gay neither. If you don't like gay marriage, don't get one. What's the problem, you know?
The record was pulled from shelves after a brief but intense protest from a Baptist square dancing league in South Carolina. Undeterred, Donnie doubled down with 1973's Licking Windows.
I'll be busy licking windows, can't you see?
That's where my heart and my passion will be. While
A ballad in which he rejected the falseness of social life in favor of licking cold glass panes in solitude. Critics were divided. One review in Mojo simply read, "Has Donnie Cheese licked his last?" The answer, of course, was no. 1974 saw the release of Hand Shandy, a song about self-pleasure.
It's hard for me to masturbate when you're crying like that. Could you tone it down or maybe wait till I'm done waxing my carrot?
The BBC refused to air it. ITV accidentally used it as background music for a gardening segment. Donnie's fans, however, remained loyal. In 1975, he responded to growing media criticism with Fistful of Fucks, a thundering, expletive-laden track directed squarely at the press.
I got a fistful of fucks, but you ain't getting none. Keep on jawing, babe, but my ears are on the run. I'm a master of apathy, a king of nonchalance. I got a fistful of fucks, but you ain't getting none. God damn it, are you still talking?
Banned across several AM stations, it became an underground hit, particularly in student unions, biker rallies, and one Welsh naturist colony. Donnie had found a second wind.
That's great, honey. Now shut the hell up, would ya?
Unfortunately, it was mostly gas. 1977 brought the confusing but hypnotic "I think the drugs are working," a swirling 5-minute hallucination recorded during what Donnie later described as a week-long incident involving orange jelly, a ferret, and the ghost of Roy Orbison. That same year, in a moment of intimate honesty, he released "Don't Call Me Peggy," a slow, aching lament about friends mocking his love of being pegged by his wife, Lauren.
Don't call me Peggy. Don't call me Peggy. Don't call me Peggy. No, no.
And then, silence. For over a decade, Donnie vanished. There were rumors, a failed Broadway musical about beef, a brief stint in a Latvian men's choir, a weekend locked in a public toilet after a prank gone wrong. And then, in 2022, an unearthed reel-to-reel surfaced in a Texas thrift store. It contained a track, 2 minutes long, with no lyrics, just moaning, groaning, whimpering, a series of rising and falling sighs, gasps, and low-frequency squeals. It was titled, simply, "Oh." To some, it was nonsense. To others, a raw, primal cry from a man who had given everything to the world and received only IBS and ridicule in return.
I can't tell you what that was about, but it was supposed to be the B-side for Don't Call Me Peggy. So make of that what you will. I was in a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, and I wanted to capture that. But it was quite literal.
By the early 1990s, Donnie Cheese had quietly disappeared from public life. His final official release, "Oh," had baffled critics and fans alike. He was presumed retired. He and Lauren moved into a modest bungalow in rural Tennessee, where Donnie spent his days watching televised fishing and slowly going off milk. For a time, he was content. But then, the letters began. The emails. The fan club newsletters still calling for a cheese revival. In 2006, after nearly 2 decades away from the studio, Donnie attempted what would become his most bewildering and short-lived return to music. A collaboration with the Welsh-American rap collective known as the Poo-Tang Crew.
Beat this. It's a straight up tough saga about hustling for your turf with a load in your pajamas. I'm talking about the moments when your pants were straight and you gotta keep it real, but it ain't okay. Strutting down the block feeling like a boss, then suddenly your guts going into chaos. Stomach twist and you start to drip.
I didn't want to come back. I was done. My joints were giving up and my ass was shot to bits. I just couldn't be bothered, but at the same time, I was getting sick of being pestered. But these kids kept writing me letters, telling me I owed the world another album. I thought I don't owe the world nothing. Far as I'm concerned, the world can fuck right off. So I says to Lauren, I says to hell with it, I'll give 'em something to shut 'em up. That's when the Poo-Tang boys showed up. They're a group of about 5 black guys from America and 3 guys from somewhere in Wales, and somehow they got together and made the group. They were mostly real friendly. Used to drink cups of tea with the boys. They were very courteous and well-spoken, not like what you hear on their records. Said they wanted to blend my classic sorrow with rap beats. I didn't understand a word they said, but I liked their trousers, and the one kid looked like he had a knife. So I just gave in and said, fuck it, one more won't hurt. But it did hurt. It hurt a lot.
Donnie and the group wrote and recorded 2 songs, one of which was titled Skid Row Lover, a rap that tells a tale of a man taking a woman back to his house and spotting a mess in her knickers. The rap elements were brash, direct, and to the point, and Donnie brought a more indirect, metaphorical view with the hook.
She turned around to fold the jeans, that's when I saw it. A big old streak in the drawers look like tank tracks. Her panties be looking like the Psalm. Sing it, Donnie. Sing it, Donnie. Sing it, Donnie.
There's ghosts in that there gussets, little brown boats on a cotton sea. Love is blind, but my nose sure ain't. All your panties all skid up? Look at the size of that.
Do I regret it? Well, you heard it, ain't you? Of course I regret it. It's absolute shit. Absolute horse shit.
The collaboration was short-lived. One single released, another one shelved. Within 3 months, Donnie had ghosted the group, citing a spiritual flare-up. He returned once more to retirement, and this time, the world finally let him go. Donnie Cheese never won a Grammy. He was never inducted into a Hall of Fame. His greatest commercial achievements sit unsold in charity shops. And yet, for a small but devoted group of listeners, Donnie remains something else entirely. A symbol of honesty, a prophet of digestion, a man who once sang "Don't Call Me Peggy" with tears in his eyes and a donut cushion under his bottom. His music has been studied in avant-garde seminars, condemned by the Louisiana State Fair, and sampled by unsigned grime artists on SoundCloud. His moaning-only track, "Oh," was recently used in a Tate Modern exhibition titled Sound and Moisture.
Donnie Cheese was punk before punk, outsider before outsider, and, well, damp before anyone was ready for damp. We teach his work not because it's good, but because it happened, and because ignoring it would somehow feel like cowardice.
Today, Donnie lives quietly in a care home in Tennessee. His wife, Lauren, passed in 2019, following complications from a fondue party. Donnie spends his time between naps, yogurt, and humming songs nobody else remembers.
People ask if I regret it. The songs, the shows, the pegging, but I say no, not once. I sang my truth, I shat my truth. And if that ain't country, then I don't know what is. Now go away!
Donnie Cheese. An icon. A warning. A man who looked the world in the eye and asked if it could kindly direct him to the nearest toilet.
Hurry up and fuck off!
Good night.
The Donnie Cheese story was written and presented by Lionel Thackery for Radio 7. We must also sadly announce that since the recording of this programme, unfortunately Donnie Cheese was found alive and well in his bedroom by his care home staff. Next on Radio 7, Sandy Toksvig gets to know Lady Gaga rather intimately. After the news and weather, next.